I got a treat for you guys. Stick around. So much solar on this thing, it's nuts. I'm gonna have to lay down for this one. G'day guys, Matty Extreme Auto Caravan and Camping. Another big off-grid setup. All the Victron fruit on this one. So this power system allows this family to get away from caravan parks and limit them to water only. This is a pretty decent sized power system on this NewAge. It's a brand new NewAge. This is they haven't even spent a night in it. It's still got the plastic on the bed here. It's brand new. There's not a plate in the cupboard, so these guys are able to really extend their stays off grid with this setup. So they reached out pre-build to get this setup done by us, and as you can see, all the Victron fruit here, which I'll go through in a second. So their intentions were to run their air conditioner, microwave, washing machine at the rear here, induction cooking, pretty much just be self-sufficient, not limited to having to plug in wherever they go. As you guys know, it's nuts out there at the moment. Most places are booked out, and if they're not booked out, there's limited allocations. So, when we use the term free camping, we mean just a bit more freedom when you're out in the bush. You have to call ahead and book so many places. You can just wing it and open up your apps and find a spot to camp and still run all your devices. If you've got Starlink, you're able to run that from this inverter. CPAP machines, the list goes on. Hair dryers, toasters, the whole caravan just works all at the touch of a touch button, guys. And this system is designed with that in mind. So let's get into the specs. So excuse the precarious position here. I'm kind of hunched down just so I can give you some details on this. So there are two Victron smart solar controllers here. Now these are the 50 amp models. Okay, so there are two of them here. And the reasoning behind the two of them is to suit the large array that's on the roof. Now this is quite a large van, and there are very minimal roof hatches on this. Now we've got a compressor fridge in this. So there's no hatch on the top for the three-way fridge, and there's only a single hatch above the shower. So, and then just one right here in front of the air conditioner. There's not a lot of shading issues on the roof of this, which is why we're going to be getting massive solar yields on this. Old mates hit us up and said, we want a caravan on the roof later on, so we've left a space for that. But the solar on this, guys, is humongous. There are very, very limited amount of caravans that I'm able to fit these size panels on the roof. So we've done 6 exotronic 225 watt solar modules. So there are 3 of them tied into this 50 amp controller and another 3 tied into this one. What's that? 1350 watts, guys. Big numbers, right? 1350 watts perfect. There are 3 in a beautiful line along the driver's side here, and then we've done the other 3 at the rear. Funny enough, there's actually space for another 2 more if we didn't do the Caravan, but you know, 1350 watts, it's a lot of energy for these guys. I think they'll be fine. It's really good to be able to get that amount of energy. Anything over 1,000 watts on top of any roof of any caravan is just completely desirable. The more the better. So that's the solar. DC charging on this is the 30 amp Orion from Victron here. So that's coming off of his Prado there. So that'll charge the batteries at a 30 amp rate as well as the solar simultaneously. We've done the Victron 12 3120 amp inverter charger here, and that's a CMS integration factory fitted on all of the outlets, so it's a seamless integration. What that means is when they plug into mains power, it'll just knock it through. Basically nothing changes. So when they're on mains power, they're on mains power. Caravan park, station stay, power comes through, you pull the power, turns off. This will take over. If you're free camping, you just hit the touch button. This will take over the factory system, so your air conditioner, washing machine, your microwave, it'll all just run from this system. cerboGX down here with the Touch 50 for full control and monitoring of all the products here, temperature sensor. Busman fuse system on this, so the high-end Busman fuse there, as well as the LMI bus fuses here, and there's about 4 of them. We have done the battery relocation on this, so that the factory batteries on this model NewAge came with 1 AGM behind the driver's side wheel, and then they leave the box on the passenger side if you wanted to add another battery. Obviously this came bare bones, so there was only 1 battery. That has been removed, so 35 kilos has come away from behind that rear right wheel, and the power system is on the same side, but just here now. So the additional weight added to this is between 50 and 60 kilos once that battery's off. So it's not a massive deal on this, plus the payload on this thing's absolutely huge anyway. Where are the batteries? Tunnel boot, guys, tunnel boot. So we have fitted 2 PowerPaul 630 amp hours in total of custom-made, handmade lithium batteries from Melbourne. PowerPaul is doing a great job. The batteries, we love them, use them all the time. They've got a high discharge. This whole system, believe it or not, can run from 1 battery should 1 battery die or do its thing. You know, we design with the redundancy section in mind, because if it does fail and you're out in the bush, you need to be able to keep this system running at its capacity. And that's what it can do. Obviously, your battery capacity has diminished by half, but you can still run your inverters full load. So those batteries can support up to a 3,000 watt inverter individually. So it's about a 250 amp continuous rating discharge. Obviously, it's got a peak that can handle it for much longer than that. But that's why we use them. We try not to use, or don't use anymore, the low discharge batteries. Once upon a time, that was all that was around. We didn't really have a choice. And now I wouldn't say we're spoiled for choice, but there's just better options out there for high discharge singular lithium batteries, and a bonus when you start to parallel them up as well. So yeah, there are 2 of them mounted through the tunnel boot, guys. And once again, I'm going to get hit up with heaps of emails, as I have been for many times now. That complies with new standards. All right, so if you put your batteries in an outside environment, like I said, I'll put another link to the EnerDrive PDF they've released. It's a great piece of documentation. Really love it. Did it on my previous video as well. So check the link out there. I'll probably put a link up in the description here too, so you can see it easily. It's basically just showing you where and how to fit a aftermarket lithium battery system on the high power nature to be retrofitted into a caravan, say of 2019, 2018 model. It just allows the options to be there, because you can't always put a side hatch in. It's actually impossible in some situations, which I've already thought about. You've got wall structure, you've got wiring that runs through the walls. There are situations where it might not be possible. So kudos to you, EnerDrive, for putting that one out. Thanks heaps for that. It's the pictures that's done on it makes it easier for people to understand and read through. So I encourage you to check it out. But either way, ours are in the tunnel boot, all completely separate to this section and this habitable area here. So that's how it's done. That's how it should be. So overlay system, guys. This is a complete overlay system. All right, this had the BM Pro, or still has the BM Pro HA system. which is basically just now a glorified fuse box with all the tank monitoring still on it. If these guys want to upgrade to the different tank sensors, like the mppt LPG sensors or the water tank sensors, even the RUVI tags to monitor temperature, they can, and it will all integrate into the Victron screen, which I'll show you guys in a second. So basically their BM Pro system is just a master battery switch to turn on and off to control all their 12 volt stuff, and they can monitor their tank levels up on it quite easily. That remains in situ. Nothing changes. You still turn it on and off at the screen at the BM Pro Trek 3. Just anything to do with battery monitoring is not taken care of by it anymore. It's actually completely inaccurate. It'll probably flash time remaining 1 minute, but it'll keep going forever. So it's going to not monitor anything to do with the battery. So no solar goes through it anymore. No mains charging goes through it, or it's just not plugged into mains anymore. And the auxiliary input on it, which would traditionally go to the Anderson plug, is completely disabled. So no charging is done by the BM Pro system. It is just powered up from the battery system and fuse, and that's it. That's its job done. Cool bananas. What I'm going to do is take you up to the touchscreen. Now we've got a beautiful sunny day. I had a sunny day, well, not full sunny, but cloud kind of here and there yesterday. So we were able to do some good tests before I left, just after lunch yesterday. I think it was 12:30ish. So I did see some really good numbers yesterday, so I was happy to do that. Today, obviously, we're going to see some monster numbers. Now, it's only like 9 a.m. and I'm already seeing 600 and something watts up there. That's really cool, and it did start really early in the morning, I noticed. We've been here since 6 a.m. From about 6:30, it started charging. So that's how we string up the systems. They're able to charge under a really low light situation. That way you get a greater yield over the day, although it's only a small amount because the sun's quite low in the sky, obviously. But my point is the voltage is high enough, well above 5 volts over the charging battery voltage, that the charging starts really early. So really early in the morning and really late in the afternoon, just to increase that yield over the day's period. You just get more power over the day, that's all. So look, I don't really have any devices in here to do the full load test. Just watch my other videos, guys. You've seen them all. Scroll back through and you'll see caravans that people are living in and set up for camping. Look at those to see the rundowns on the big load test. But I'll take you up to the touchscreen now and just show you the operation of this system and how easy it is to use. And this can be fitted to pretty much any caravan, motorhome, RV that you guys might have. You might have an older model one, it can still be fitted to it. It's very easy to use. So check this out. This is the Victron Touch interface that's up here, and just even at a glance you can see what's going on. So you can see your battery percentage here, and the flow of energy is coming from solar only. So you can see we're producing 623 watts, or chopping and changing here, and the energy is flowing this way. So you are charging the battery. There's no minus figure in front of these numbers here. So you're not pulling energy, you're pushing energy in, and that's the rate that it's going in at. This little picture here is showing the inverter, and it is in the off state at the moment, and the AC loads that are here. So because the inverter is off, there is no power coming out of the inverter, so there are no AC loads. This one here is shore power, so when you plug into the grid, at a caravan park, 15 amp supply, or a station stay with a 10 amp supply, it will show up here as well as a generator as well. So basically mains power comes in through here, and then it will decide what to do. So if you click it and go to menu, you open it up for more options and monitoring here. So if we wanted to dive into the battery, you can see what's happening. So we'll click that. So you can see the state of charge is 88%. We've used 78.1 amp hours. Time to go is not showing up because we're not in discharge. So that will come up with a number once you start pulling energy from here. So it'll give you time remaining. Alarm state is okay. You can get into history. This is a really cool one. So if you want to know more info about your battery usage over a period of time, you will see everything here. So total charge cycles, number of full discharges, cumulative amp hours drawn, minimum and maximum voltages here, time since last full charge. That's a really good one to take note of. You can actually see when the batteries have reached the full state of charge and when the last time that was. So according to this, 19 hours and 35 minutes ago, which would have been yesterday, it shows you when the battery's reached its last full charge. Discharged energy and charged energy is a really good one to look at as well. So your charged energy and discharge energy, the difference in those numbers is obviously going to be your battery capacity. So as long as those numbers are not greater than your battery capacity, then that means you're using a lot less than your battery capacity. So that's it. But, you know, being lithium, you've got a pretty good 0 to 100% usage there. We'll go back again. And if you want charger area temperature, inverter charger, if you want more information on any of these products, you just got to simply click it. So if we go into, say, we'll go into solar right hand because the sun is coming up on the right hand side. So that's why it's producing more energy there. So if we click solar right hand, you've got all of the information here at your fingertips. And we'll go to daily history. Something I want to show you guys. So yesterday, take note of that wattage and look at the yield. Now we only put the solar on, I believe, around about 1 o'clock, maybe 12:30. Yesterday we made our final connection, which is why you can only see the bulk on then the battery filled up pretty quick, as you can see. So your bulk absorbent flow here represented in this number, and this number. So 1 hour and 10 minutes, 2 hours and 11 minutes, 3 hours and 59. So that's your bulk absorbent flow. They're your 3 stages of charge that the solar controller has taken care of. So we actually filled the batteries up yesterday, I'd probably say by about 1 o'clock or something. You can log into the VRM portal to get the exact time, but there it is right there in front of you. And it will log a history. It will continue to log as there it is today. So right now, the best that this right-hand side has done is 390. That will obviously continue to rise. But just want to show you something. So yesterday, 623 watts we received on solar right-hand. Now let's go to solar rear. So 623 plus 532 watts. That's like over 1100 watts, guys. Pretty good. We're only in September. So you know, you probably remember what I said. Well, you press pages. You probably remember what I said to you about solar yield in sort of September, October. There's a big jump up, and you'll notice it quite substantially. It'll plateau out and then really ramp up sort of September, October as we tilt towards that sun and we get better angles to allow more light in. We'll go back to that menu again and we'll go into the inverter charger. And when you go into the inverter charger, that was that feature I spoke about earlier, charge a battery to 100%. That's the sustain, the new feature on the Multipluses, which I really, really like. So sustain, when you plug into the grid initially for the first time, if you see the word sustain there, what that means is the inverter charger actually isn't charging your battery. It is just keeping it at a good state and allowing solar to charge the batteries. It's pretty smart, so we set it for a predetermined voltage of 13.2 volts. So what that means is if it goes below that at any period of time, it'll obviously charge, and it'll do it after a period of time also, but it'll prioritize solar to bring those batteries up to a good state of charge. It's just healthier for the batteries, and it's a very good feature. Stops the load on the line if it's unnecessarily doing it. But you know, if you need to force charge the batteries, so if you pull up at a caravan park and it's 4 in the afternoon and you're off in the morning and you want to maximize your charging, you just simply go into it and select charge to 100%, which is just easy. So if we go back, you know, charge battery to 100%, press start. It's just as easy as that. Shore power will be used to completely full charge your battery for one time. After the charging process is complete, the system will return to normal operation, prioritizing solar. Do you want to continue? Yes. So that would be you clicking yes. And that's it. That's all you got to do. Go back to pages. Now, if I plug the shore power in, plug the grid in, it's going to charge this battery to 100% from the grid. And then it'll just go back to normal. It'll turn it off and then prioritize the solar. Bloody good feature. Really, really happy to be able to, add this feature to it. And it's completely done all on site. It can actually be done remotely if customers want it. So good little feature from Victron. Happy to keep doing that. And that's the thing too, like it's all software, so it's all completely updatable. And it can be done remotely as long as there's a connection from the cerboGX to the internet. It can all be done and programmed remotely. So cool bananas. Now what I will do here is, because I'm going to be leaving very shortly, it is a beautiful sunny day. You've seen some good numbers. It's only like 9 o'clock in the morning. I'll put up a couple of photos of the solar yield from yesterday. And yeah, guys, enjoy that one. What have we got here? Vitrifrigo fridge. I run a Vitrifrigo fridge. This is the bigger one. I think it's a 260. These are a compressor fridge. Italian made, high quality. Absolutely love these. They've been getting around for a while. Reversible door on them, really easy to use. Massive freezer. They're not narrow like the Domestics and the Thetfords. They're a wide fridge. They're like 550 mil, probably more, maybe 600 mil wide. Really cool. Massive freezer on them. Like, you know, two big drawers. You can take them out. It's just a huge freezer. And big fridge as well. Bloody cool. Love the Victron frigos. That's why I got one myself. You know, they're up there in price, but they're well worth it. And the air conditioning on this is degree. And when I got here this morning, because I needed to get the batteries down, because they were 100% when I arrived, so I got the batteries down to 88%, I think. Yeah, 88%. Now, I got that down to that, surely it's maybe 10 o'clock, is it? There you go, it's 10 o'clock. So I got that down to, well, that percentage, by running this on heat 30 flat out from 100%, and it's taken nearly 3 hours. Yes, we've had a little bit of solar, but it's only been, 2-3 hours of early morning sun, which is not a huge amount. But to get this van at temperature only took about an hour and a half. So I was quite surprised. So they're not, any air conditioning on heat will, any reverse cycle air conditioning on heat will use a lot of energy. They are the facts. And if you run it on heat, you're usually running it when it's freezing cold. It's nighttime, you've got nothing coming in, it's winter. Solar yield is usually at a minimum when you're running a heater, which is why we try to encourage diesel heating and gas heating when you are off-grid. The facts are the facts. They are the most efficient way of heating a caravan, or RV, or motorhome. So diesel heating or gas heating for your off-grid heating. Look, you can still run this. You've just got to manage your energy a little bit better because your yield is a lot less. So you can still do it. You know, grab your remote, run it on heat. I do it. I've got the Harrier Plus, and I'll put my remote right next to my bed. And I'll wake up, I don't know, 2 in the morning, and I'll just hit the remote and put a 1 hour timer on it, whatever. Run it, and you just know what it uses from the battery. And if you're out the next day, well, who cares? Your batteries are going to fill up. It's just, you've just got to be a little bit more mindful because it does use a little bit more energy. But look, when you're running on an air conditioner, these aren't actually too bad. I think 750 to 850 watts is what we normally see running these on cool. And obviously, if you're running it on cool, the sun's generally out, so your solar production is going to be massive. And 750 to 850 watts, they're not an inverter style air conditioner, so you will hear them clunk in and clunk out, just like this one does, roof rattlers. But they work fine. They work bloody great. I'm actually pretty happy with them. More and more caravans are coming out with them. They're quite small on the roof. They're not overly big, so the footprint for solar on the roof with the shading, it doesn't matter. I can get them away from the shade. So if you think of the roof of your caravan where the air conditioner is, if you've got solar panels that run down the side, what you don't want to do is have those panels jammed right up against your air conditioner. There's no point. I mean, you'd have to face the side of your van, that would be north, and then you're going to gain all of your yield out of it. But what about the other side if they're jammed against the air conditioner as well? Look, sometimes you don't have a choice, but if you do have a choice, get the solar panels away from that air conditioner, away from shade. If you can keep them in full sun, you will notice their power output is phenomenally better. Shade tolerant, all that stuff is negligible. If your panel's got shade on it, power is diminished. Facts are the facts. If you can keep full sun on your panels, you're going to see bigger numbers. They are the facts, definitely. Cool, guys. Like and subscribe. Check out my other videos. Got so many to go through. There's heaps of NewAges there, all sorts of brands. Go through them. There are ones where I do big rundowns with big multiple charging at the same time, solar and batteries, solar and vehicle charging at the same time. Mains charging, fast charging. There's so many different variables there, different brands of DC chargers, different brands of inverters. Check them all out. Like and subscribe, guys. I'll keep the videos coming. Enjoy. Might just get this gree going, so we'll turn the inverter on. So we'll go inverter only. We'll go to the main screen. All right, we're on. So we'll go cold 16 because I got it I had this thing on 30, so it's actually pretty warm in here. All right, there's that clunk. So that's the gree running on cold 16. So usually 750 to 850 watts is what we see. We'll let it run up and we'll see what's happening here. So this is the AC load. So the only device running in here from mains power at the moment, or sorry, from batteries, is this load here. And you can see the path of energy. So solar is coming in to help out what we're pulling from the battery. But you know, 10 o'clock in the morning, right? 10 o'clock in the morning, take note of what we're using from the battery. That's it. 7 amps. We're only using 97 watts or 7 amps from the battery system while running this at 10 o'clock in the morning on flat out 16 cold. That's free camping. That's running an air conditioner off grid with very minimal usage. Now within the next hour, that number is going to, you know, because we'll get to 11 o'clock, the solar's going to ramp up and get over that AC load. And that's, if that happens, you know, that might happen earlier, but here's the kicker. By that time, I can guarantee your caravan will probably have reached temperature. So not many of us run our air conditioner at 16 flat out. We're probably around 21, 22, you know, there. So the temperature of your caravan will come down quite quick, so the efficiency goes up, which means once that kicks out, all of that wattage will go straight into your batteries and replenish the power. And when it kicks back in, it comes back out. So that's why I try and tell people, you just do the best you can with solar. You put as much as you can obviously afford and carry within weight, because they are flat mounted. So you're very, very rarely going to see the big peak numbers. You know, there are 6 225 watt panels on this roof. To see 1350 watts would probably only happen around the summer times. You know, summer solstice, so maybe November through to February, kind of, you'll see those big numbers. And the best I saw out of this was 1100 and something watts, 1135 watts or something yesterday. So that's a pretty good number. Still massive, but it's still nowhere near that 1350. Why? Because they're flat. The sun's not straight above you. You know, and there are efficiency factors involved with that as well. Heat, if it's 45 degrees, 44 degrees, products warm up. Solar panels derate as they heat up. So once again, guys, you just do the best you can with solar. Flip you around again. So it's still only pulling 680 watts. That's really, really, that's really cold coming from that on 16. Cool. Enjoy. See you next time. That's it. Give me some sun. Beautiful. It's running that Greon heat. Flat out just to pull some energy from the system. Not bad for 12:30. Happy days.